One in three people will struggle with mental illness in their lifetime, which means that at some point in your life, you're likely to be touched by this. So, the question is, what do you do if someone that you love and care for appears to show symptoms of a mental health disorder? Well, first, you want to make sure that you're watching out for those early warning signs, and those can be things such as loss of interest in something that was once enjoyable to a person, changes in productivity at work or at home, isolation or social withdrawal from people, ambivalence about life, changes in mood, etc. So the next step is really understanding how to help and be supportive of those loved ones who you do see those changes in. And what we want to do in the conversations that we have with people, they don't have to be hard. They can be pretty simple. Don't worry about the conversation being perfect. If you're genuine and you're expressing care to somebody, that usually goes well. If you're struggling with the words to come up with or conversations to have, those words of support to share, be honest with them and say something. I think, ultimately saying something is better than saying nothing. And it can be really hard to have conversations, especially if this topic is really serious, if the topic contains things such as suicide or self-harm, things like that. In that circumstance, still saying something is better than nothing. You want to express concern for the person. Tell them that you love them. Tell them that you're here for them. And you want to share with them that people can get better. We're better at treating mental illness now than we were years ago, and we're only going to get better. And people do get better from therapy and having extra support. It's important to make that connection with the person and also share that message of hope. So, how do you go from having that initial conversation with somebody to actually getting them professional help? So, again, this is about support. If they have questions, be there to help them answer those questions. Help them weave through their options because when people are in a low place, they might feel really overwhelmed with life in general and feel like they can't even take on this responsibility. Help them call places, help them look at different providers in their area that can assist with their needs. The housekeeping stuff that people have, that it can be really daunting, such as like scheduling an appointment. Helping that person be seen is something that would be really beneficial. Now, what about encouraging a loved one to remain consistent with or stick to treatment, especially when they get to a place where they start to feel better? Because this happens where people tend to start feeling better, progress is occurring, and they feel like, oh, I'm good, I don't need to be in treatment anymore. So in this case, it's important to focus on why the success has occurred in the first place. So asking questions such as, what are you doing differently now than you were doing before? You can have that organic conversation with them about what's different. Most likely what's different is that they're in treatment, they're getting help, they're paying attention to things, they're working on skills, they're talking through challenges and issues that they're having. But as you do that, there is a temptation to stop because you're feeling better. So you really want to bring that conversation back to why they're feeling better to help them see and to verbalize on their own that, therapy is beneficial and, hopefully they'll recognize that it's something that they should keep up with or would be helpful for them to keep up with. What about people that refuse the help in general and refuse to accept that there might even be a problem? What can you do if there's not much as the support to encourage your loved one to buy in? And this can be really hard. You always want to keep the door open, even if it's a small opening, for someone to understand that if they ever need to talk to somebody or they want to talk to somebody, that you can provide that support for them and help them in that process of getting treatment. Additionally, you want to take care of yourself. I think it's really important to take a look at how much effort you're putting into this. If you're working harder than the other person, then, it might be time to take a step back and just allow them the space to, explore, what they're willing to do. While you want to help as much as you can, it's really important to not get to the place where it's taking over your life. It starts impacting how you deal with things or how you're functioning. Everybody copes with a loved one with mental health illness differently, and there's really no right or wrong way of doing this. So really asking the question of how can you deal with the struggle of watching somebody that you love with mental illness? And I would bring it back again to supports, finding someone that you trust and that supports you to have those conversations with and talk to them about, how difficult it is to be that support for somebody that has mental illness, whether or not they're in treatment, whether they're refusing treatment, making sure that you as an individual are leaning on your own supports can be really, really helpful and beneficial. So lastly, it really comes down to communication in general and really not shying away from those difficult and oftentimes unpleasant conversations. All you can do is be that support and have that open and honest conversation. So hopefully that helps.
If you like this video, help us reach others by hitting that like button and subscribe. You can meet with over 1,000 caring mental health professionals, including the presenter you just watched, by visiting us at thriveworks.com, or click the link below to book your session now. Be well, and thank you for watching.